This is a really good, fun story. And, so much of the time we're talking about all the awful things in the world. And this is a good story. There's 6 young guys, and they're all male. They do have autism, at least according to Elon Musk, who's a little bit on the spectrum himself. And they are literally destroying the deep state. They just got their first department. They found the one department that the Democrats are really freaking out about. Now, the beginning portion of this, I'm going to put on Better Bachelor because it's about the male engineers that I want to talk about. That's the first part. And then the second half will be kind of the politics of it a little bit. So on Better Bachelor, if people want to hang around for that part of it, they can, or they can just get the good message that 5 or 6 young men are basically destroying the deep state. And then if they don't want to hear the politics, they can tap out. One thing Elon Musk is doing that I think is really smart, Elon Musk is in charge of this thing. He gets permission from Trump and the executive branch because USAID, which you'd think stands for U.S. aid, but it doesn't. USAID is the first department that they've targeted. And what they're doing is they're getting basically like packs of dudes, like 4. What they have is 4 groups, or I should say they have groups of 4. Maybe that's the right way to put it. And one of them is like the head of the team. He's an auditor. And then the second one is an engineer that's a coder. And the third one is someone from human resources. And the fourth one is a lawyer, an attorney that knows what they can and can't do. And they're going in and they're just decimating all these departments that are spending our tax dollars and feel that they're not accountable to anybody. If you're interested in that portion of the story, my suggestion would be to go to X and just do a search for USAID, and you will see Democrats melting down. You will see the deep state freaking out. You will see left-stream media throwing a fit. You'll see the members of USAID, mostly women with they, them pronouns, outside screaming and yelling and protesting. That's how you know you dropped a nuke right on the target. That's how you know they did it. Well, here's the main story about the gentlemen that are going through and tearing up the deep state. And this is from Wired. And yes, they are a leftist magazine or a leftist webpage, which is specifically why I'm going to read them, because they doxed these young gentlemen. I'm not going to be reading their names. I'm not going to dox them. And I think all of you would probably write them thank you letters. You wouldn't actually go after them. But, I at least don't want to propagate any doxing against them because I wouldn't want to be doxed either. Before we get started, a word from our sponsor, Comes Chocolate. We're going to discuss a topic that's been bothering all of us for a while, the relentless attack on masculinity and the feminization of men. While we're bombarded by estrogenic chemicals from plastics, junk food, and sedentary lifestyles, the mainstream media loves to demonize normal heterosexual masculine men and calling them toxic. They promote homosexuality and non-masculine behavior while censoring voices like Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate from social platforms. Testosterone levels have been declining for decades. As a result, young men, particularly those under 30, are reported having significantly less sex than previous generations, and nearly 1 in 3 men in the United States report having no sex at all. But don't worry, there's hope. Comes Chocolate combines 2 of the most potent natural testosterone boosters in the market, Tanga Ali, which is an ancient, potent natural herb that has been used for thousands of years to increase testosterone levels, improve libido, and reduce stress levels, and horny goatweed, which is commonly used as a natural remedy for enhancing sexual desire, improving erectile function, and supporting overall sexual health. Additionally, it includes L-arginine, which aids in increasing blood flow and improving sexual function. Guys, this chocolate is a great way of supercharging your bedroom game and boosting your T levels all at the same time. Also, which you get to eat chocolate at the same time, which is kind of awesome. It's also a huge plus that it's tailored chocolate for the ladies as well, making it perfect for a date or movie night. They've recently sent me a box. I look forward to trying this. It's supposed to be boosting my energy levels, strength, stamina, and the bedroom confidence. I will be testing out as soon as she's back from her travels. I will be testing it out with her, and I'll keep you posted and let you know how that turns out. Don't worry, it won't be too much information. Don't forget, by supporting my sponsors, you support me directly. Hurry and take advantage of this amazing 48-hour promo and support me alongside this amazing brand. It's Comes Chocolate. Links are down below. Make sure to check it out. And now back to me. One of the things when I talk to the sponsor, they're very nice. When I talk to the sponsor, they say, yeah, we got chocolate for guys. We got chocolates for the women. And it kind of helps them get in the mood and all this other stuff. And I kind of said, boy, that name's right on the nose, isn't it? And they're kind of like, well, yeah. It's pretty much right on the nose. So anyway, the links are down below. Go check it out. I'll see how it turns out, man. It sounds kind of fun, and eating chocolate and boosting my testosterone can't be that bad. So, okay, so the 6 young, inexperienced engineers aiding Elon Musk's government takeover. Again, this is from Leftist Wired. So, engineers between 19 and 24, most linked to Musk companies, are playing a key role as he's seizing control of federal infrastructure. Or he could be actually just doing an audit and making recommendations like he said he was going to do with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and then they're actually going through with it. Who would have thought we'd have a government actually doing something? Oh, good times. Elon Musk's takeover of federal government infrastructure is ongoing, and at the center of things is a coterie of engineers who are barely out of, or at least in one case, purportedly still in college. Most have connections to Musk, and at least 2 have connections to Musk's longtime associate Peter Thiel, a co-founder and chair of analytics firm and government contractor Palantir, who has long expressed opposition to democracy. Again, now, I'm not going to touch on every time they lie, but they don't have opposition to democracy. They have opposition to the way the leftists and the Democrats use the word democracy, which is basically mob rule. Wired has identified 6 men, all between the ages of 19 and 24, according to public databases. Their online presences and other records, who have little to no government experience, +1 right there, and are now playing critical roles in Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, tasked by the executive order with modernizing federal technology and software to maximize government efficiency and productivity. They say all the engineers hold nebulous jobs within DOGE, and at least one appears to be working as a volunteer. So you've got 6 guys here. Basically, Elon Musk has pretty much confirmed that they're all kind of on the spectrum. They're not in government. One of them's still in college. The rest are just out of college, no government experience. That right there tells you that's what we need to clean everything up. A, not in government. B, smart young men on the scale that are socially awkward, but really, really smart, and they can drill down on certain things. And I see this as such a big win. And the irony of it is, Elon has said in the past, they hire women. They hire women. But when he went into Twitter to purge 80% of the workforce because it was so inefficient, and obviously they were spending a lot of dollars, he got rid of the women that were doing the TikTok videos of a day in the life of my cushy job. And he went in and said, all right, I need some guys or women. I need a team that is going to stay here, work all hours, long hours, maybe sleep over at the office. We need to fix this place. And literally the 20% of the men that stuck around look like a bunch of young guys that are probably somewhere on the scale. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I mean, they're guys that they're the people that you can show them a picture of a tree and they can find where in the world you are within 200 miles on a map. You know, it's those type of guys. And so I see this as an absolute win. And those young men are the ones that stuck with Twitter and are fixing it and are implementing all the things he wanted. And the people that just wanted a cush job where they could share their pictures of mimosa after work, they're all gone. Mostly lefties and women, if we're just going to be honest about it. They say their names. I'm not going to say their names. The 6 men are one part of a broader project of Musk allies assuming key government positions. Already Musk's lackeys, including more senior staff from XAI, Tesla, and the Boring Company, have taken control of the Office of Personnel Management and General Services Administration and have gained access to to the Treasury Department's payment system, potentially allowing him to access a vast range of sensitive information, blah, 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 blah. We got to complain and find things to whine about. Yeah, what they're going in is, and they're finding, where's our money going? Who's getting paid? How many emails are being sent by the people that are working for the government? How often are they logged into their computers? How much time do they spend logged in to their remote access since they've been working remotely? And you know what? If you find out, hey, they've only logged in for 7 hours this week, but we're paying them $120,000, afuera, out they go. This is how you clean up the government. And not only are they, and again, I'll touch more on the politics of this later, but not only are they finding wasted money, they're finding where all of our money is being appropriated to actually work against American citizens' interest. And that is huge. That is absolutely huge. One of them attended UC Berkeley, where it was a prestigious management, entrepreneurship, and technology program, according to a copy of his now deleted LinkedIn, obtained by Wired. Now, why did this guy have to delete his LinkedIn? Because Wired basically outed him. They doxed him. And so he's like, okay, I'm just going to delete my LinkedIn and go into hiding. And so publications like this, Wired, that do this stuff, they're doing it for a purpose. They want these young men to get doxed. They want these young men to be threatened. They want these young men maybe to be ended by somebody that belongs to the deep state or one of the three-letter agencies. So now, of course, Wired has no problems doing this. They're proud to do it because they're activists. But if you want to know how bad this is going to get, the deep state's not going down without a fight. Let me tell you right now. These guys have worked for SpaceX. They've worked for a lot of a lot of Elon Musk's companies. And Elon said, you don't need a degree to work for Tesla or SpaceX. You need to be smart. You need to be creative. You need to have a specialized set of skills. And these young men do. They say to these extent, these individuals are exercising what would otherwise be a relatively significant managerial control over two very large agencies that deal with very complex topics, said Nick Bednar, professor at University of Minnesota School of Law. It's very unlikely they have the expertise to understand either the law or the administrative needs that surround these agencies. See, that's where Elon Musk was already thinking ahead. Love or hate Elon Musk, he's sharp, and he's definitely on the scale. But he's a sharp guy, and so he sends in these 4-person teams, several of them, to all these departments. And again, each one has kind of a head of a team, an engineer, someone from HR, and an attorney, a lawyer that knows the law and knows what they can and can't do. And they're basically going in and doing the research, and then they're saying, hey, these people are not doing their jobs, or this is wrong or that's wrong. They're spending this, they're doing this. And the engineer looks through the books, finds the data they need. He turns to the lawyer and says, okay, here's the information. Or he turns to the team lead. Here's the information. Team lead turns to the attorney and says, well, what can we do about this? And if the attorney says nothing, they walk away. If the attorney says, afuera, fire him, then the attorney tells that to the HR person, and the HR person, talk about an efficient team. A 4-man firing squad, basically just tearing through these government agencies. For one, I'm here for it, and I'm very excited about it. The young men all currently have working GSA emails and an A-suite level clearance at the GSA, which means that they work out of the agency's top floor and have access to all physical spaces and IT systems, according to a source with knowledge of the GSA's clearance protocols. The source, who spoke to Wired on the condition of anonymity because they fear retaliation, that's probably one of the people that actually works for one of these government agencies, say they worry the new teams could bypass the regular security clearance protocols to access the agency's sensitive compartmented information facility, as the Trump administration's already granted temporary security clearances to unvetted people. Are they unvetted? We don't know. But I tell you something now, a lot of the people that are working for our government and doing a lot of the things we don't like them to do, they're unvetted. You know, and again, I could get on the political rant about the 51 top security advisors that said, oh, you know, the laptop is, you know, Hunter Biden laptop is definitely not real. And then turns out it was. So Trump took away their 51 security clearances. So the fact that they're so incessant on calling these, they're unvetted and they're unprofessional and they're young and they don't know what they're doing and they don't have experience and they're not in the government. Yes, exactly. That's exactly who we want going through this system. If you want to ask me, would you rather have Karen from HR decide who should go and where the money should go? Or do you want it to be a 23-year-old engineer with 17 shades of autism drilling down into the system to see what's going on? I'll take that autistic kid and a million more like him any day. I call him a kid because I'm an old man, but I mean this young gentleman, I'll take him. I think this is great. They say this is consistent with a pattern of a lot of tech executives who have taken certain roles in the administration. This raises concerns about regulatory capture and whether these individuals may have preferences that don't serve the American public or the federal government. Oh, you mean like USAID giving all our money away and then refusing to be accountable for where they've sent our money? Well, Elon Musk subtly confirms reports of young geniuses aged 19 to 24 spearheading Doge to overhaul government bureaucracy, outsmarting veteran bureaucrats. Now, this is from the Gateway Pundit. They're a little bit more conservative leaning. They say Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, is proving that age is just a number when it comes to redefining federal bureaucracy. Under Musk's leadership, a group of young prodigies aged between 19 and 24 are at the helm of transformative project aiming to slash federal spending. Just 2 weeks into its formation, DOGE, operating from the Eisenhower Executive Office building, the team is already making significant inroads into reforming the way the government operates under Musk's leadership. From the Twitter account or X account of DOGE, updated data on DEI-related contract cancellations with full detail. All of this stuff was DEI. Let me open this image in a new tab. All this stuff is DEI. So it's not just private industries that have been doing this stuff, pushing women over men, pushing black over white. It's our government. And you can see it's in the Bureau of Land Management, Department of Agriculture, Commerce, Defense, Education, Human Services, Homeland Security, Labor, State Treasury, Veterans Affairs, the EPA, at NOAA, Nuclear Regulatory Commission. All these, this is how much they were spending just in DEI. And I don't know for how long, but they've already cut $1 billion out of it in just a week, and just for DEI. That is so amazing. Through January 29th, 85 DEIA-related contracts totaling $1 billion have been terminated with all those departments. DOGE also says in the past 6 days, the number of lease terminations of underutilized buildings have increased from 3 to 22, with savings increased from $1.6 million to $44 million. Lord, give me an army of autistic young men, let me tell you. This includes a thorough examination of the Treasury payment systems, where Musk has uncovered that officers were previously instructed to approve payments without exception, including to terror cells. Now, they say, these young men going in here and they're unvetted and they're going through and tearing up the system and they're going through and destroying, and they haven't been vetted. They haven't been clearanced. But in the meantime, you've got these departments that are told to approve payments without exception to our enemies, to the enemies of Western civilization. This is why they're going to come back after, they're going to come after young men. They're going to come after men in general. Because here, the men are going in, they're cleaning everything up. We've been given money to terrorists or terror cells. We've been given money to our enemies. They say, whatever you do, don't question where these payments are going. And Elon Musk and his group of rabid, autistic young gentlemen are going in there and eating their lunch. And so, of course, the leftists are going to start screaming, it's young men destroying everything. It's going to happen. So now we're going to get another wave of leftists against men. Not that it's anything new, but it allows them to kick it up and start screaming again. They say, moreover, the Trump administration had to place senior leaders at the U.S. Agency for International Development, that's the USAID, on leave after they refused to provide DOGE with classified documents. So now you've got basically these young men that are auditors. They're coming in and cleaning up the system. They're checking everything. And you've got this U.S. Agency for International Development saying, no, we're not going to comply. We refuse. So Trump's like, okay, afuera, you're fired, get out. And that's why they're pausing all this funding. They're pausing everything until they can check the books and see what's legit. And then they're going to start funding things again. But it's the right way to do it, because if you didn't pause the funding and then you start digging around, these agencies are going to just start, robbing the silverware and the plates off the Titanic before it sinks. So coming in and closing it down, and then, or coming in and stopping the money and then saying we're going to take a look, I think that's perfect. They say despite their limited experience in government, these young innovators are already making their mark, tasked with modernizing federal technology to enhance government productivity and efficiency. The Gateway pundit refuses to expose the identities of the 6 young engineers who were doxxed by far-left Wired journalist Victoria Elliott. The Wire reports this, and I've already read the Wired article, so I'm not going to read that again. They continue on. One ex-user wrote, the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, is being spearheaded by 20-year-old autists. These young engineers are reportedly forcing high-level GSA employees on calls to go over code they had written and justify their jobs. Despite their limited experience, these individuals have been granted official A-suite level clearance. One of these young engineers reportedly just graduated high school. Imagine being a 30-year-old veteran bureaucrat and being fired by a 17-year-old autistic engineer with a laptop. Simply incredible. Cavi says, I hope they're incels. Come on. 17 to 24-year-old young men who are somewhere on the spectrum and know computer code and data, and yes, they're definitely incels. So incels are going through and firing all these Karens. You got to love that. Meanwhile, acting U.S. Attorney for D.C. Ed Martin announced his office would be charging and arresting individuals who threaten Elon Musk's Doge team. Ed Martin did not name any names, and he announced that arrests and charges were coming. It's unclear which laws were violated. So here, now, see, in the past, the left could get away with doxing people. They could get away with threatening people. They could get away with saying they were going to harm people. And now, because Wired doxed, this is the irony, Wired doxed these young men, and now people are threatening them. And now, U.S. Attorney for D.C. Ed Martin said, okay, well, anybody that just threatened those young men, we're coming for you. We're going to come for you. Anybody that threatened these incel young engineers, we're going to come and arrest you. You got to love it. You got to love the irony. He said, we are in contact with the FBI and other law enforcement partners to proceed rapidly. We also have our prosecutors preparing. This is from Ed Martin. Dear Elon, please see the important letter. We will not tolerate threats against Doge workers or law breaking by the disgruntled. All the best, Ed Martin. And he says, hey, I'm going to work with you guys. Yes, revenge of the nerds. Very, very accurate. I've got some reactions here that we'll play through. Not a bunch of them. Not a bunch of them. And this is where I'm going to talk a little bit more about the politics. So those of you on Better Bachelor that say, I don't care about American politics. I get enough of that stuff. This would probably be the time you want to dip out. I'm going to now make fun of Democrats and leftists for the next 15 minutes and watch them freak out and melt down because they're losing. And the machine is struggling. And you got to love it. You got to love it. Anyway, this is from Chuck Schumer. Let me see if I can toss my screens around, change some screens just a little bit here. All right, let's watch some Democrats and lefties melt down. I'm not going to play the whole thing. This is 6 minutes of Chuck Schumer, Democrat Senate lead, absolutely having melties.
Without objection.
So, Mr. President, yesterday, Elon Musk took issues to my warning that Doge is operating in many ways like a shadow government. Here's what I said. I said, quote, Doge is not a real government agency. Quote, Doge has no authority to make spending decisions. Quote, Doge has no authority to shut programs down or ignore federal law. Doge's conduct, I said, cannot be allowed to stand. Congress must take action to restore the rule of law. His response, here's what Musk said, quote, hysterical reactions like this is how you know that Doge is doing work that really matters, and that, quote, this is the one shot American people have to defeat bureaucracy and restore democracy. Give me a break.
He is not happy, and I love to see it. He is absolutely not happy, and I love to see it. I got to keep looking off to the left because I usually have a triple monitor setup, but one of my monitors is downstairs, so I have to be creative with everything here. All right, let me shrink this back down. The right people are freaking out. And Elon is right. When you're over the target, they start screaming. They start freaking out. They start having meltdowns. And boy, are they having meltdowns. I'm not gonna full screen this. I'll just bring the AOC up. She's getting heavy. Everybody thinks she's pregnant. I think she's just crossing over I think she's just crossing over from young Latina to older Latina. Young Latinas, they're usually thin, attractive, big booty Latinas. Once they start hitting that 30, 35, I don't know how old she is, but once they start hitting that 30, 35, they start becoming just big Latinas. So some people think she's preggers. I think she's just getting old and fat, and she's a Latina. Anyway, she has a meltdown as well. Let's enjoy this.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met or seen or witnessed.
A former waitress. Oh, by the way, fun fact, Guess who helped support her through college? Guess who helped pay her way through college and helped fund her run for the Congress? Can anybody have a guess? USAID. That's right. She was partially funded by USAID. Do you wonder why she's freaking out over the cut to USAID? So a former bartender / waitress who went to economics school and doesn't understand economics wants to say the dumbest billionaire she's ever met is a guy that has created PayPal and banking systems. He's refined Twitter. He made a car company Tesla. He's got Neuralink. He's got rockets going to Mars. And the waitress / bartender that doesn't know economics he's dumb. He's so dumb that he's just dumb. Like, she's like a Chris Farley skit. She's just stupid.
Which, you can probably even glean that from watching these people on TV. Anyways, all of that is to say is that they don't do their homework. Clearly, like, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart. And the danger in the lack of intelligence and the lack of expertise that Elon has. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also just least knowledgeable.
I think she wanted to say he has a small penis. That's where most women go when they want to throw insults. He's a tiny penis and no women love him. They start raging out. She can't even come up with the words to insult him. She's so pissed off.
About these systems that we really know of. But the point is that what that means is that they're going to hit a button, inevitably. They are going to hit a button and things can go sideways. This dude...
They're going to hit a button and things go sideways. So apparently these engineers that are tearing apart the code, these young gentlemen that are tearing apart the code and tracing emails and sending out fingerprinted emails so they can find leakers, and the guys that are questioning everybody on the old code that obviously is not efficient, these young guys, she says they're unintelligent because they're young and lack experience. I'll tell you what right now, those young gentlemen, and anyway, my point was, she says they're going to hit a button. So apparently in AOC's mind, when you're working on a computer, it's like in the movies, and somewhere on your computer monitor, even though it's not a touch screen monitor, there's a big button that pops up and you press it and destroy everything. Does she think that we're in like a 1970s movie where there's flashing buttons and things when you're working on computers? Yet she's going to say Elon Musk, again, the rocket man, he's the dummy. Okay, good luck with that. I have a bunch of these saved up. I'm just going to kind of play down through them in order. Some are leftists melting down. Some are conservatives saying what happened.
I have been on USAID's case for years now, going back several years, where I was trying to investigate the expenditures for humanitarian aid, primarily when it came to the war in Ukraine. And what my team and I encountered was absolute obstruction and lies coming out of USAID. They did everything possible to stop me from accessing their records to understand where our taxpayer money was going. I eventually partnered with Representative Mike McCall in the House, and we started a formal congressional investigation. And even after that, they really pushed back, only allowed us access to a small amount of data. But what we found was extreme expenditures on the part of USAID with very little data-driven results. We have seen money funded in the Wuhan Institute of Virology through dollars steered by USAID on dangerous coronaviruses. We saw how that turned out. We've seen funding going to Morocco for pottery classes, tourism in Lebanon, of all places, even when the State Department was advising against travel. I could go on and on.
The thing is that's so interesting about this is that's what it's titled, right? Our government is very good at doing that. And they'll say something like, oh, it's the Save Puppies Act. Everybody loves to save puppies. You want to save puppies, right? It's the Save Puppies Act. And everybody says, well, that's great. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do the Save Puppies. And then you look in the bill and it's like, send nukes over to Iran. You're like, wait a minute. Well, Clause 73, Section 2 says we're going to try to save the puppies. So that's what our government does. So all of these things that are like, oh, we're sending money for Peru for this. And I don't think it is. I mean, if we're just going to be smart about this, when they say, oh, we sent $73 million to Peru for, trans dancing lessons. And you're like, really? That's not what it was used for. It was recirculated and refunded. And how do you think congressmen and senators and our government, how do you think that they end up going in there and they're in the Senate or the Congress for 5, 8, 10 years and they're leaving with $250 million? Do you think they're genius investors? No, yeah, there's some insider investing. It's all kickbacks. And there are a lot of Republicans. There are a lot of Republicans that also voted down looking into USAID because they're on the dime too. They're on the dime too. So it's not just the Democrats. It's the people that we call, or most people call, rhinos, or the warmongers, neocons. They're on the take too. So when you say, why don't Republicans or conservatives actually do Republican conservative things? Like, why are they always doing stuff that it goes against what we elected them to do? It's the money and this kind of stuff, this USAID, where they're getting kickbacks and they're getting this other stuff. Anyway, this is Joni Ernst. She's a Republican from Iowa. Tim Burchett, who's my representative here in Tennessee, very based. He shares this USAID. Here's some of the money they spent. This is press secretary. I don't know her name. I don't remember her name. She's brand new. I've only watched her twice. I'll memorize her name at some point. This is the press secretary. She's reading off where we're sending our money. I don't think it's actually going for this. I think that it's being laundered. But anyway, this is what they say they're sending our money to.
You're watching live coverage.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces, $70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government. Thank you, guys.
Caroline Levitt. Yes, I saw it just at the bottom there as one of you guys typed it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Moving on, Rep. Ilhan Omar. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. See, what they don't tell you, let me pause this flapping gums bitch. What they don't tell you is USAID is under the control of the executive branch of our government. Donald Trump is the executive branch of our government. If he wants to go in there and shut it down, he can. It is at his whim. I do believe USAID was actually created in part by an executive order. I'm not going to make you listen to the whole thing. I just want you to hear the meltdown. Understand, I want you to hear the meltdown, because the more the left screams and the more the government, especially the ones taking the money, the more they're screaming and the more they're furious, that means we've nuked the target.
It is really, really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. When you gut the Constitution and
the USAID is not in the Constitution. Elon Musk going and seeing where our money going is not part of the Constitution. These are words to make it sound threatening. Oh, this is so awful. Oh, can you believe this is happening? It's not in the Constitution. And yes, some of you are right. I see your comments as well. Since when does the left care about the Constitution? Well, they only want to say that word when it suits them to make it sound. But when we say actually the Second Amendment in the Constitution, the First Amendment in the Constitution, baby deletion isn't in the Constitution, the first thing out of the left's mouth is, well, we need to add baby deletion to the Constitution. Or, under under Amendment 14, actually, the way you could shut up. So now all of a sudden she wants to care. I'll give you only a couple more seconds of the woman that married her brother on paper at least, to become a legal or make him a legal citizen. I'll let you hear the rest.
And you install yourself as the sole power. That is how dictators are made.
He wasn't installed. We duly elected him. Thank you. Have a nice day, dingbat. Oh, all right. Let's see who else is screaming and having meltdowns. This is from Chip Roy. He's a very conservative guy out of Texas. He just posted some of the places your money is going. $77 million over the past 2 years to build DEI platforms. $83 million fiscal year for more DEI. I'm just looking for numbers here. $45 million for a 5-year program to promote human rights, social justice, democracy around the world, based on the social movement theories of Italian Marxist professor. You know who that is. $7 billion per year to global health program. Meisberger found similar disparities with over 97% of political donations from implementing partners directly to the Democratic Party. So all these things are going to the Democrats. That's why they keep getting so much money to run their elections. And it probably gets filtered through Act Blue and everything else like we know it does. Anyway, Chip Roy's got a lot of that stuff. Here's Spitfire says all the cockroaches are pissed and scurrying around. Rep Jim, Democrat, Jim McGovern, that is, Democrat from Massachusetts, to USAID employees. I'm sorry you have to put up with this offensive bullshit coming out of the White House. Yes, how dare you? Where's my eye? How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you have to be audited and be under scrutiny for doing your job?
First of all, to all the employees at USAID, thank you, thank you, thank you. You keep America safe, and you help people all around the world. And I want to apologize. I want to say I'm sorry that you have to put up with this bullshit coming out of this White House.
Bunch of cackling women. Keep funding my... You know what it is? This right here is welfare for middle-aged white women. That's what this is. I keep forgetting I've moved my camera multiple times. I'm looking over here at my... This is welfare for middle-aged white women that want to feel that they're important. It's a department of Karens. It's a department of middle-aged people. For those of you that say you hate the boomers and boomers ruined everything, this was made by boomers for boomers. This is how these particular boomers milk the system, how they keep getting richer and richer while the rest of us suffer. It's because of these people. These are the people you want to be mad at. Not the mom and dad that maybe have their own business like my parents or you know, that's not the people that ruined everything. These are the boomers that ruined everything for you. The people that set up these specialist stuff to take all your money. Jamie Raskin, Elon, you don't have the power to destroy USAID. He's having a meltdown as well. Marco Rubio, I already read his statement, but he's like, yeah, look, if you're not spending money with a national interest, you're out. No more funding these special things. And I'll kind of leave it at that, because I mean I could show you meltdowns all day, but you guys kind of get the picture, and you can go look at your own meltdowns. But they're not happy. Let me tell you right now, they are absolutely not happy. And the more they melt down and the more they're not happy, the happier I am. The happier I am about it. So I will kind of wrap it up there. Six right now. Autistic gentlemen have torn a hole in USAID, but Elon also has these 4-man teams of young guys, I assume young guys, mostly young guys, at least the engineer portion and probably the attorneys as well, are going through in 4-man teams and absolutely like a tapeworm. It just gets on the inside and starts eating everything on the way out. I think this is great. I think it's exciting. I think it feels good watching, yes, incels, Kathy, a bunch of incels kicking the crap out of the deep state. I'm excited to see this. I feel good about it. Whether you like Trump or not, whether you like Elon Musk or not, that's irrelevant. The whole point is they said, if you elect us, we are going to do this. And they got elected. And within 2 weeks, they've already started tearing apart the system. I'm here for it. I'm excited about it. And I just want to give props to these young men that are going in there that have probably, and if we're going to talk from a a young man's perspective. Young men that probably haven't had success with women, young men that probably haven't dated, young men that are probably shunned by a good portion of society because maybe they're a little autistic and they're on the spectrum and they're not comfortable talking to people or whatever. But it didn't let them stop them from doing something big, something great, and something important. So good on these young men, good on Elon, and good on this administration. I'm kind of here for it.